Alrighty. Well, thank you so much again to everyone on the call this afternoon for joining us, taking time out of your day to spend some time with us this afternoon to reflect on our fantastic Adopt a Beach season. We really, really appreciate everyone who makes this program possible. We have thousands of volunteers, Adopt a Beach team leaders, supporters, community members who make this program possible each season, and we really are so appreciative and could not do this work without you. And you all each season make such an impressive impact. And Crystal and myself are really excited to dig into that this afternoon and share all of your great accomplishments and successes with you all who have again made that possible. And we'll also chat a little bit about how folks can get involved for 2026. So with that, I'm Olivia Rita. I'm the volunteer engagement manager with Alliance for the Great Lakes. My pronouns are she, her, and I am based in Chicago. I have been with the Alliance for the Great Lakes for almost 7 years and just feel really lucky and fortunate to be able to meet so many amazing community members in the Great Lakes region and get to interact with you all and just share passion for the lakes with you all. So really appreciate again you supporting the program in whatever way that is, whether you're returning to the program, new to the program, support the program. Just thank you for being here and for all the great work you did this season. So I'll let my partner in this work, Crystal, introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. Thank you again for joining us. My name is Crystal Ramirez. I'm the volunteer engagement coordinator for the Alliance for the Great Lakes. I'm based in Chicago, and I've been with the org now about, I think, 2.5 years, if not a little more. Yay. And yeah, in my role, I basically help support our Adopt a Beach volunteers and our ambassadors. So yeah, it just always feels good to, support and work with people that yeah, care and especially for a common cause and especially for such a beautiful resource like our Great Lakes. So, yeah, thank you again for your support, your participation, your engagement. You're going to hear a lot of thank yous today, so brace yourself.
Yes, exactly. Thanks, Crystal. So we'd also like to invite folks on the call to introduce themselves in the chat if you're open to it. So feel free to share whatever you would like to share, but we put some things on the slide here: name, pronouns, location, how you've been involved in the program or supported the program, and if you're new or if you've been involved for many years, it just might be neat to see who we have joining in today. And it's often very cool to see that folks tune in from all over the region and have touched the program from all over the region. So feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat as we get started. A little bit about how the webinar will go this afternoon. As we're doing some intros, I'll kind of go over the rest of our agenda. We are going to share a little bit of an Adopt Beach overview of the program, kind of some historical context, how the program started, where it is now, for folks who maybe are new to the program, or if you're a supporter or someone looking to get involved in 2026, we'll share a little bit about the program so you can kind of see how that's looked over the years. And then we'll get into some of the accomplishments from 2025. So the big numbers that you have all made possible, pounds and pieces of litter kept out of the Great Lakes. And we'll look ahead to 2026, share some different ways that you can join us again in 2026, and also some key dates to mark on your calendars because I can't believe it's already December and nearing the end of 2025. So we'll talk a little bit about next season, and then also questions are very much welcomed and encouraged. So if any questions come up for you, please feel free to use the Q&A feature, and Crystal and myself will make sure to address those questions at the end. And if there's anything we don't get to answer, please always feel free to follow up with us through email, and we'll send a follow-up email as well with a link to the recording of this webinar if you're interested in viewing it again or referencing any of the parts, and also some of the different links that we referenced today we will include in that as well. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. Again, please feel free to keep those questions coming in the Q&A feature. Go ahead and use the Q&A for that, just because then Crystal and myself can go right to that versus the chat and make sure we get those answered. Okay, so a little bit of an Adopt a Beach program overview, kind of how it works. Again, if you're new to the program or interested in getting involved, the Alliance for the Great Lakes recruits and supports many amazing team leaders. Again, we're so grateful for all the leadership that our team leaders do across the region. And then Adopt a Beach team leaders are able to register and coordinate cleanups and collect litter data, which we'll talk a little bit more during this webinar, in their communities. So again, very grateful for the leadership that it takes to fulfill that role. And we have lots of different resources and training to support team leaders if you're interested. So we do about 6 virtual team leader trainings throughout the season that occur in springtime, summer, and fall. and a lot team leader resources page, which we can follow up with a link to via email if you're interested in seeing what kind of resources are available there. We also have some supplies that we can send to support your cleanup. So lots of different things to check out in that regard. And then volunteers are able to sign up for cleanups on our Adopt Beach website. So adopt.greatlakes.org, if you're not familiar where that lives, that's where folks can search for a cleanup, sign up for a cleanup that's public in their area with that yellow register button that you see in that image there. And then there's lots of resources for team leaders to be able to promote their cleanup in their community. And it's a great way to meet others who are passionate about the lake in your area. And now, as it stands, we are lucky and fortunate to have folks participating across the region. We have cleanups along all 5 Great Lake shorelines each season and in all 8 Great Lake states, which we'll see with our fun Adopt Beach map shortly. Here's a little bit of historical context for the program, kind of a little bit of a summative sort of timeline of things. The Adopt a Beach program did start in 1991 as part of International Coastal Cleanup, which is an effort that's global, a global cleanup effort facilitated by Ocean Conservancy, which is a great partner of ours. We shared all of our data with them each season. So if you ever hear them talking about litter data, talking about their database, we contribute to that thanks to all of, again, all of you. So that started in 1991 in a few states, and the program has since evolved to be region wide. So now, again, we have cleanups in all 8 Great Lakes states. The cleanups also don't just occur in September. So International Coastal Cleanup, we still are part of, and that's typically the third Saturday in September. We call it September Adopt a Beach for being part of Adopt a Beach. And again, that's something we still do, but we also have cleanups that occur year round, typically like March through October, but we have some very brave folks going out in months beyond that as well. Since then, we also had our online litter database start in 2003. So we have litter data going back in our online database going back to 2003. Again, it started in a handful of few states and now has been more region wide. And since then, that litter data has been used in a variety of different ways, which we'll get to a little more here in a second. But that data has been used for volunteers to push for local things like smoking bans or other guidelines. It's also been used in plastic pollution research and advocacy. And there's also been some impressive milestones that have been hit due to our thousands and thousands of amazing volunteers. Collectively, throughout the years, over 500,000 pounds of litter have been removed, as well as over 10 million pieces of litter. So all of those pieces could have ended up in the Great Lakes themselves, a source of drinking water for 40 million people, but instead it was intercepted on the beach, and litter data was recorded that helps us advocate for systemic solutions, which we'll talk a little bit more about. And then in 2024, so last year, we released a data report that talks a bit about the patterns that we see in that litter data set. So that includes 20 years of data from 2003 to 2023, again, released last year. Crystal, maybe you could put the link to that in the chat, greatlakes.org/litter data, if folks want to see kind of the patterns and trends we see over the years. I'll talk here in a second about how this year's data compares, just to kind of see what that looks like in one year versus sort of how that compares to patterns we see over time. And then this year and a little bit of last year, we got to pilot some Spanish forums for Adopt a Beach. So again, a huge thank you to many volunteers who helped pilot those forums. Those forums have been used at some cleanups this year and are available if you would like them, and they will be on our website for download soon. So anyone can go to our website and download those forums if they would like to, and they would be useful for your cleanup. And they have already been very useful. Again, thanks to many folks who helped us pilot those. Okay, so drum roll. Here are the impact numbers for 2025. Again, cleanups along all 5 Great Lakes in all 8 Great Lakes states. 931 cleanups, which was an increase from last year. So thank you so much. Huge round of applause for that. Over 540,000 pieces of litter were removed this season from Great Lakes shorelines. Over 23,000 pounds of litter, over 10,500 volunteer experiences. So again, thousands and thousands of folks making this program possible and this impact possible, contributing to over 24,500 volunteer hours. So again, as Crystal said, you'll hear us say thank you many times this afternoon, but that's really impressive impact. And that makes an impact, for each of those beaches where these cleanups happen, but also that data lives on, which we'll talk a lot about. So this is a map for folks who kind of like a visual representation of the cleanups that occurred. As you can see, it's really neat to kind of see that geographic distribution, especially since the program started in, just kind of a few different geographies. I also do want to note one of our amazing partners, Friends of Sleeping Bear Dunes, hosts many cleanups each season. This year, almost 400 cleanups occurring in that Sleeping Bear Dunes area, kind of marked there on the map. So kind of hard to have all the pins showing individually, but just wanted to call that out as well because that would be on the map here too. So good, a nice good distribution, and we're always looking to kind of expand the distribution as well. So it's really exciting to see that over the years. Another thing that we wanted to share this year, because it made us smile when we looked at it, is really just seeing how lucky we are to have so many passionate folks involved in this program who are spreading awareness about the Great Lakes and having such a positive impact. So we have an Adopt a Beach survey that folks fill out after their experience once their cleanup is closed out in the system. And when asked what their greatest motivation for either leading a cleanup or attending a cleanup, the top two responses for both of those groups of folks is they want to give back to their community or contribute time and effort to a good cause. So just some feel good data for all of us. But again, very fortunate to have so many folks who are passionate about this cause across the region. So diving deeper into the litter data itself, wanted to share a bit about that litter data makeup for the season. So all these numbers are specific to 2025. In 2025, 81% of the litter pieces removed from Great Lakes shorelines reported by team leaders and volunteers. 81% of those pieces were composed either partially or fully of plastic. And we'll look at some examples of those litter types here in a moment. And then when looking at like what kind of litter are we finding, we do segment things into certain categories. So we had food related items, which include packaging. So things like takeout containers, beverage bottles, plastic, beverage cans, foam takeout containers, utensils, straws, things like of that nature, including discarded food. But those are all kind of have different categories based in our system. And then we also have tiny trash, which for us, we have those indicated as pieces of foam, glass, or plastic that are estimated to be less than 2.5 centimeters by volunteers reporting and recording litter data, and smoking related. So cigarette butts, unfortunately, continue to be one of our most found items. We have cigar tips. We've also added e-cigarettes as well as a litter type in the last couple of years, so you may have seen that update. But when we look at that, the top category is tiny trash. So that around 40% seems to be consistent with other years as well. But that really just shows that litter is not disappearing. It's getting smaller and smaller, and can end up as, for example, microplastics in the Great Lakes. And once it's that small, it's very difficult to remove, nearly impossible. So pushing for systemic solutions to prevent that is really important, and our data helps show that as well. So tiny trash being the top category, then we have food related at 24% for 2025, followed by smoking related. So those items make up a lot of the litter we find, and we find a lot of single-use plastics, so takeout containers, straws, things of that nature. So diving a little deeper into this, these are the top 10 litter items that were found this year when we look at the collective litter data set from the entire season from all 900 plus cleanups. The tippy top item is plastic pieces, and that's under the tiny trash category. So measuring estimated to be less than 2.5 centimeters, over 160,000 pieces, little tiny pieces were recorded this year. That's a lot of little plastic pieces. That's often a top observation from our cleanups is that folks are surprised by the tiny trash is being found. A lot of times the bigger items I think are more easily seen and removed by, partners such as different park entities and even community members ourselves easily see those things sometimes and pick them up. But those tiny items are still left behind. That's a lot of what we are removing at our cleanups as well. So almost 31% goes into that category, followed by cigarette butts, food wrappers, bottle caps, plastic bottle caps, and as you can see, the rest of the items here. I will note that our top or the tiny trash categories, plastic pieces, foam pieces, and glass pieces all ended up in the top 10. And as you can see here from the list, the top 7 items are composed either partially or fully of plastic, have plastic in them. So a lot of plastic. But that data, again, is really helpful for us to advocate about that issue. Just to kind of show how that compares over time. So this image here is from that litter data report that we talked about, that looks at 20 years of data over time. And when we look at the top 10 items from this year, they also appear in the top 10 items from 2014 to 2023. So that kind of last 10 or so years of data. Thought that was kind of interesting and just showing that a lot of those, litter types, there's patterns of that showing up as, one of the top items from season to season. And these other three items here, just wanted to note that they fall into the top 15 for this year. So straws being at number 11, beverage bottles, plastic beverage bottles 13, and bottle caps metal, being our 12th most found item this year. So just kind of interesting to see that it reinforces a lot of the patterns that we see over time. All to say is that you're making such a huge difference that day participating in cleanups or supporting the cleanups that happen in a given season, sponsoring this effort. We so appreciate it. But that lives on. So the data that's collected, at that cleanup goes into our database, and myself and Crystal and the rest of our staff, we could not collect this data on our own. So community science like programs like this really allows us to have a much larger data set than we would have otherwise. This litter data is referenced by state legislatures and by national organizations. As they consider forward-thinking policies and strategies to combat plastic pollution. It's used and cited when folks give state-level testimony, for example, like in Illinois when talking about the foam foodware bill, for example. But really just emphasizing that your efforts and the litter data that you're collecting, even though it seems so tedious, and believe me, Crystal and I know how that goes. It's not always the most fun part to do in the moment, but really it's so important and eye-opening to see it all collectively having an impact together. And to be able to have that, to push for systemic solutions and have something tangible that we can point to specific to the Great Lakes region. This litter data is also used heavily by community members and in education settings. So these are just some examples specific to 2025. We had a Truman College student in Chicago here use the Adopt Beach litter data for her student poster at a symposium for research posters at her university. Her professor at Truman College, shout out to Ray Teralba at Truman College, has hosted with Sierra Club many cleanups over the years at Montrose Beach here in Chicago, and he heavily involves his students in those efforts. And like I said, one of his students used it for a research poster, which was really cool. A professor at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee is currently using the Adopt Beach litter data for a course that she's teaching, looking at data analytics and innovation. So having a data set like that to analyze is really helpful for students to look at. And we have a 7th through 12th grade school in Duluth who has participated again in many Adopt a Beach cleanups over the last 10 years. Students this year, we were able to present to the students and share how their litter data that they've collected as students has contributed to this data set. And it was just neat to see their reflections, noting that, cleanups are so important, but we also need to push for systemic change as well. So it can really kind of have a really neat impact in school settings as well for educators and community members. All to say, if you want this data, we are more than happy to provide it. We'd love to share it and have you put it to use. So if you're interested in receiving data or talking about how you could use it, please feel free to reach out to us. There's our Adopt a Beach email, or you could reach out to myself or Crystal. We'll provide our emails at the end as well. But please feel free to reach out if you feel that would be helpful or you would like to use it yourself. With that, I'm going to hand over the presentation to Crystal to finish us out here, but just want to reiterate again how grateful we are to each and every one of you who has joined us today and for your impact in the Adopt a Beach program and helping make it possible. So, Crystal, I will hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Olivia. Yes. And like I said earlier, y'all are gonna hear this a lot, but yeah, I mean, we wouldn't have this data set, we wouldn't have this program if it wasn't for our wonderful volunteers, our team leaders, our partners, your contributions to the data set to yeah, and yeah, just being engaged with us. Yeah, that has really driven and been a foundation of our Adopt a Beach program's success. Um, yeah, so thank you so much. And yeah, this slide is really just to say thank you. Next slide, please. Awesome. And now, yeah, I wanted to also, yeah, in the spirit of gratitude, also give a special thank you to our 2025 sponsors who make this work possible. We have Meyer, HSBC, Freudenberg, and the Dr. Scholl Foundation. And yeah, and actually, I will share momentarily. But if your organization or business would like to be a sponsor, I'll be sharing more info on that later. But yeah, again, like this is like a whole team effort from on multiple fronts. So again, thank you. Next slide. Awesome. So I'll let you read these. But in summary, yeah, these are quotes directly from our volunteers, from our post cleanup surveys. And so these are just some observations and experiences relating to Adopt a Beach. And yeah, just to give you, yeah, an idea of what some of these quotes share. But basically, yeah, an adoptive beach cleanup is not only about taking care of our beautiful Great Lakes, but also about building community around these issues. Um, an adoptive beach cleanup is a great way to bring people together that normally wouldn't be in the same space together. For example, are a lot of we have a lot of businesses that use our adoptive beach cleanups to bring multiple departments together that don't usually get to interact with each other directly. So it's a great team building exercise outside of the office. We love to be on the beach. And if you would like to be on the beach, that is also an option. And yeah, these cleanups, especially when a cleanup is when a sorry, when a team is new, or this is our first beach cleanup, a lot of folks are always amazed at how much litter there is on the beach because as Olivia touched on earlier, a lot of what we find is really small. So it's like if you're not if you don't have your eyes trained yet to spot like tiny trash, you don't pick it up as often. And so yeah, and I know at least for myself, I was surprised about the amount of plastic pieces, but also the amount of glass pieces that we find, because people are often barefoot on the beach and it's like, why is this here? And so yeah, terrifying. But yes, folks are often surprised by like the sheer amount of of litter that they find. So yeah, and it's a very good hands-on experience to really demonstrate like this is plastic pollution. This is what it looks like on our Great Lakes shorelines. And I will read the last quote because I really like it and it sums up the community building aspect, which is one of my favorite things personally about the about Adopt a Beach. So when I say the last one, I mean like the bottom right hand corner. Absolutely amazing to do something fun and educational with a mix of friendship and networking, a great chance to visit different parts of the city. Yeah. And also, I mean, with that, it's like, oh, sometimes, yeah, there could be a lot of reasons why someone hasn't like visited their local beach, but this is also like a good way to get acquainted with your local landscape if you're not familiar with it. Um, yeah. Next slide, please. Thank you. Awesome. So, looking ahead to 2026, um, yeah, as you may know, we released a mobile litter data collection tool. We because it's a relatively new tool in comparison to how long the program has been going. We're still pushing and just offering it as a resource for folks. Returning team leaders and new team leaders. And if you're interested in learning how to use those, we will be having team leader trainings. Spread out throughout the spring, fall, and summer. But stay tuned for our spring dates, where we'll go over all all the little, buttons and everything in the data collection tool. But yeah, we'll walk you through it, and yeah, show you more resources about that. Um, we're also hoping to expand our presence along the Wisconsin shoreline, Northeast Michigan, and the Lake Ontario shoreline. Um, and yeah, we also wanted to share that, because, I mean, Adopt a Beach really demonstrates the effects of plastic pollution. So if you're interested in, joining another campaign relating to that, stay tuned for our Plastic Free July campaign and our larger plastics campaign. So, there's more things you can do, to speak up about plastic pollution. So stay tuned for those. And like Olivia mentioned, the Spanish versions of our litter monitoring form, our team leader how-to guide, and our participation waiver will become available early on this year. well, early on 2026, on our website for download. And you can also request them from us. And I'm also happy to answer any questions in Spanish. If you know a team leader that would prefer to communicate like that, I'm available. Awesome. Next slide. Cool. Awesome. Just to highlight again our mobile data collection tool. This is a tool that can, yeah, help you manage your entire cleanup from the beach. Um, Yeah, and volunteers picking up litter can track data on their phone. It gets, added up, and then once they submit their tallies, they're able to see how many pieces they were able to pick up. And then it really streamlined the cleanup process, especially for the team leader, because we know it's like check-in is a whole thing, and then adding up all of the tallies, and compiling the data is a whole thing. So yeah, we made created this tool, yeah, because it was something that was asked for from our volunteers, and we were able to pilot it and yeah, test it out because of you guys. So again, all of this work happens because of our volunteers. So thank you to those who helped us test this out. Um, yeah, and we're helping more folks use it. So yeah, and just to give you a little taste of what it looks like. Next slide. We did include some screenshots just to give you an idea of what the interface looks like. So it's not, although, it would be really cool if it was an app. We're not there yet, but we do have basically like an extension of our website that yeah, where you're able to see all of our categories, exactly how they are listed on our litter monitoring form. So they are identical whether you do it mobily or on paper. But yeah, and then if you look all the way to the right, it tells you the total amount of litter items once you submit. And if you forget, that's totally fine. You can enter another record, which on the bottom, still on that right hand side picture, record more litter. So yeah, next slide. Awesome. So um as again, calling some of the stats that Olivia mentioned earlier, you know and this percentage kind of fluctuates between year to year, but un unfortunately, the percentage of plastic that we find along the beach is always pretty high. On average, it's about 86% of what we find on the beach is partially or completely made of plastic. And for folks that, want to, yeah, I mean, not only want to pick up, direct litter directly from the shoreline, but want to, take additional steps, we have this link, greatlakes.org, greatlakes.org, sorry, / next step. There's a QR code. That's like the short link. But basically, yeah, this is an additional step that folks can take after a cleanup. Um, um, or we also actually have been sending a half sheet when folks request supplies. We've been sending a half sheet with this QR code for team leaders to share with their volunteers as another way to continue speaking up against plastic pollution. And we're also happy to send you a digital file with the QR code and the like a little explanation. Yeah, if you do not request supplies. So we're happy to send that to you digitally as well. And yeah, and even if you don't have capacity to join a cleanup, you are still welcome to, welcome to this link. Yeah, and it's just yet another way to engage. You don't have to be on the beach, but being on the beach is fun. But yeah, feel free to engage as you would like. Um, but yeah, this is a good link to have. Thank you, Olivia, for including it in the chat. Next slide. Awesome. So, just some dates to keep in mind to put on your calendar. Yeah, I wanted to share that we will be having a Getting Involved webinar on January 15th at 12 p.m. Central. So this has been like a Yeah, a new webinar we've been doing. This is going to be our second one, I believe. And it's basically just all the ways, going through all the ways that you can engage with the Alliance, whether that is through volunteer work, donating, um, or yeah, just being informed. And so we're gonna go through all the ways that you can like tap into our work. Um, yeah, and I will be facilitating that. So yay. And then yeah, other dates. Spring kickoff this year is gonna be the weekend of April 24th through the 26th. Yeah, feel free to schedule your cleanups then. Before then, weather permitting, our program is open year round. As long as folks are willing to go out on the beach, we will support you. And then in September, our last big final push for the season. September Adopt a Beach is set for Saturday, September 19th. Um, yeah, and that also doesn't mean, that's the last day, that's not the last day you can do a cleanup, but that is like our last big push. And we know folks are very willing to go out into the beach in October, November even. No pressure, but those are always options. And yeah, like I mentioned earlier, we will be having team leader trainings. So stay tuned for our spring, summer, and fall dates. Either for you or for someone you know. And that kind of goes for like, yeah, all of our events. If you're interested or if you know someone that would be interested, yeah, feel free to share any upcoming trainings or webinars that we have coming up with them, as well as our big Adopt a Beach dates. Next slide. And well, yeah, I mean, one of the big things that our volunteers do is, spread the word about yeah, the work that we do and I know we have a mixture of team leaders, of volunteers and supporters here today. Yeah, so if you haven't been a team leader, it's never too late to sign up to be a team leader. And so yeah, feel free to join us in that way. We have so many resources to help you recruit volunteers to, figure out, yeah, we're here to support you to pick a date, time, beach, all that stuff. Yeah, thank you, Olivia. And so Olivia just sent the link with all of our resources available to you. Um, yeah, but also, feel free to wait for our trainings, but you can also, get started and, check out our resources. Yeah. Next slide. Thank you. Awesome. Yeah, and if you're like, you know what? A team leader sounds great, but maybe I'm not there yet. That's fine. A lot of folks host cleanups that are public, and so you are welcome to sign up for those. On our website, adopt.greatlakes.org, you can find cleanups near you, based on, you can enter a beach, a zip code, a city, and it'll pull up any cleanups near you. Yeah, and we always need folks to come out to the beach and yeah. Yeah, so that's another way you can plug in. Next slide, please. Awesome. And like I mentioned earlier, yeah, I mean, one of our huge buckets of supporters is our sponsors. Um, yeah, and so yeah, I mean, we're always, yeah, open to, yeah, new sponsorships. So if you or your business would like to sponsor, yeah, we have our foundation and corporate giving manager, John Hearing. His email is here, and we can also include that in the follow-up. But basically, yeah, a sponsorship not only supports the program, but also supports the staff to be able to host and organize cleanups. And then, yeah, you're able to have one of our lovely staff members come out to your cleanup to help facilitate. And if you want more details, John is your person to answer those questions. And we are also happy to connect you. Next slide. Awesome. Another way you can plug in and volunteer with us is by becoming an Alliance ambassador. So the ambassadors program is really made up of folks who are passionate about the lakes and have a willingness to continue learning about them. And really, yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, we offer trainings for our ambassadors on a monthly basis. Yeah, almost on a monthly basis. We do skip 2 months out of the year. But basically, we have trainings for them throughout the year, and then folks are able to sign up to, yeah, volunteer at a community event. Yeah, I'm like we're kind of like in so many different areas and events. A lot of environmental community related events, educational events. So if you're interested in helping out with one of those or even like helping out with a presentation, we're always looking for folks in all the geographies to help out. Um, yeah, and if you're interested, I'm actually doing the onboarding. So I'm happy to introduce you to the program and walk you through it and yeah, help you sign up. But yeah, that's also an option. And yeah, feel free to email me directly and I will help you with the onboarding. Next slide, please. Awesome. And well, with our increasingly digital world, yeah, I mean, it's great to be able to like talk in person, to, have these have these webinars, but also, feel free to connect with us on other social media platforms. Um, yeah, I mean, you're also, yeah. Well, before that, if you're not already signed up to receive our action alerts, feel free to sign up for those. Or also feel free to, if you're already signed up, feel free to share greatlakes.org/take action with a family member, a friend, get someone else on our email list, help spread the word. But also, yeah, follow us on social media. We're also on there on all the platforms. Yeah, because different people get their information differently. But yeah, we're all over the place. So yeah, feel free to engage with us. Yeah, in whatever way feels good to you. And with that, uh, thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Crystal. Yes, just wanted to echo the gratitude. Hopefully you all feel it coming from us, radiating from us and the rest of us at Alliance for the Great Lakes. We just so appreciate all of you for taking part in the program, supporting the program, your interest in the program. But with that, we'll see if there's any questions. I know I answered a couple that were in there. I think once I answered it, I think it shows up in the chat. But I'll just review those real quick. Someone did ask if the presentation will be available. Yes, it definitely will be. We did record it, so we can share the recording on the follow-up email. We can also share like a PDF of the slides if you just want to like review kind of the information more quickly. If you have additional questions or like a group that would be interested in a presentation or something of similar nature, feel free to reach out and I can chat with you about options for that. And then someone else had a question about specific litter data entry, which I answered. So yeah, feel free to follow up if you ever have questions about how litter data should be categorized, or Crystal and I can also make edits. So if you ever submit something and realize you need to make a change, we can also edit that from our end as well. Thank you so much for asking. Any other questions? Okay, I think there's some questions in the chat. Let's see. Great question. So someone had a question about, do we have any data on where the trash comes from? Really good question. We do have, all of the litter data is attached to specific beaches. So we can tell you, what beach the litter data was from, the date of the cleanup. We can organize litter data by state, by lake, by city, any kind of like way you can organize it by geography, we can do that. What we don't have really data on is kind of where specifically the origin of the litter is. There's, patterns may be based on like what the litter data is. So maybe certain types of litter data, are more likely to come from certain sources. There is a good blog post that I can include in the follow-up email that we have on our site that talks a little bit about that topic in terms of like the differences between like ocean plastic and Great Lakes plastic. And it talks a lot about kind of like how with marine plastic pollution, ocean plastic pollution, there's like really large, global ocean currents that are kind of can make it where litter is ending up washing up, in a location that's pretty far from the stores. Whereas I feel like the blog post hits on this, but in the Great Lakes region, a lot of it is kind of more so from a local source. But that's a great point Carolyn mentioned in her comment that some of it might be from storm drains or some, it can still travel. It just looks a little different than maybe like an ocean environment, of course, due to, just environmental factors. But great question. I guess the short answer would be we don't necessarily have like conclusive data on that, but we do have some like environmental conditions and things like that that we can share that kind of help paint a little bit of a picture for that, if that makes sense. Crystal, let me know if you have anything to add to that, but unfortunately we don't, yeah, have specific data on that.
We had a question in the chat from Bob, about are there ratings? Sorry, I scrolled. Are there ratings indicating the need of the level of need a beach may have, particularly for Chicago's beaches? So yeah, I just want to share for that. So we don't necessarily have like all um like I guess have an indication for like, oh, like this beach like needs more cleanups. Like we could tell you like where there's more cleanups. And if we're, and because, we're based in Chicago, it's a little bit easier to tell you about Chicago. But yeah, I mean, yeah, for Chicago, I would say a lot of our north side beaches and downtown beaches get a lot of love and attention, which is great because they're very, in the summer it's popping. So, we need, yeah, we need a lot of cleanups regularly. But I would say our South Side beaches need a little help. Yeah, a little more love. I'm a little biased, but I love Rainbow Beach. It's so big, and
Great beach.
yes, I find a lot of liquor bottles. So if you want really heavy
As it
litter,
sounds.
yeah, plastic bags, go there. But yeah, and we're happy to talk through more options and finding something that's like closer to you. But yeah, feel free to email us with those specific questions.
Thanks, Crystal. Yeah, I'll just emphasize, like, I think, also once our adopted beach map becomes more populated, like as people start adding cleanups, that's a good visual to see like where are there already like a lot of cleanups scheduled, and then maybe areas where there's like Crystal said, where there's not as many cleanups scheduled for the season yet, and that's often a good way to kind of see where like efforts might be, well distributed. Let's see. I think there was a question about I would like to combine collaboration with Friends of the Parks in Chicago and Adopt Beach for the Earth Day cleanup. Any thoughts? I love that idea. We love when there's able to be collaborations. We ourselves collaborate with a lot of different groups. Like for example, here in Chicago, Shed Aquarium, or like we mentioned with Friends of Sleeping Dunes, or there's a group in Cleveland that we collaborate with a lot. Drink local, drink tap. So we love that idea and collaborate a lot with the park systems too. So Chicago Park District, for example, we work with them to be able to host our cleanup. So I would say, Betsy, if you can reach out directly to me, I can follow up with you and kind of make sure I understand what you're looking to do and can see how we can support because I think that sounds like a really great idea. And then I think there was also a question about, let's see. Thank you, Crystal. There's my email there in the chat, Betsy. Can anyone adopt the beach at La Rabida? I'm wondering if it's public. We do, I believe we do have that in the system, La Rabida, in some fashion like that location. So when you're creating your cleanup in the system, if you start typing that, it should populate some options that include that name. So go ahead and try that. If it doesn't work for you, let me know and I can follow up with you. Feel free to reach out and we can. We're always happy to add public locations to the system. Again, as long as it's yeah public and open to folks to be there. We're always happy to add locations if it's not already in the system. As long as it's like in the Great Lakes watershed, it doesn't even have to be on a Great Lakes. Like if it's on a tributary or it's it doesn't have to be a beach either. It could be a park along a tributary, for example, or a marina. We have a lot of folks doing cleanups at marinas. So if it's not in the system, if you're not finding it the spot that you're looking for, definitely feel free to reach out to us. Anything to add for that, for any of those, Crystal?
Um, no, just that like yeah, as long as it's public, we're able to add it. Although I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, we have a pretty robust list. Yeah, and
True.
if you know anyone with like a private beach that is like they're looking to do a cleanup, like we are also to, happy to facilitate, yeah, help them, get that in the system, but it wouldn't be like made a public location. But it is also possible to do a cleanup on private, with permission of the landowner, of course.
Awesome. Well, if you we'll be out a little longer. So if folks do have any other additional questions, please feel free to put them in the chat or the Q&A. But also we had a few questions for you all if you would like to share any feedback. Um, I know a lot of folks on this call have participated in beach cleanups, whether it was this year or prior year. But if you'd like to share anything in the chat, it can be a fun story or just a reflection. Or if you found like a really unusual litter item this year, that's always interesting to hear about. Or maybe something that's like really common in your geography that you've picked up a lot of this season. So we'll just, yeah, open that up in the chat if anyone wants to provide while we're looking out for questions, if anyone has any of those items they would like to reflect on or any other reflections. And as always, feel free to reach out to us if there's anything that you want to chat about for next year, or maybe something that you're like, oh, we find so much of this every season. We'd love to have this added to the litter form at some point. Things like that. Always feel free to reach out to us. We do make kind of updates on that. We it's hard for us to do updates like that every year just because then the litter form goes through a lot of changes and that can kind of be a little tricky with like consistency when we look at patterns across the data set. But we do kind of compile those notes and think about that as we make changes in the future. Amazing. Some love for Rainbow Beach in the chat, which yeah, Crystal and I always say how much we love going to that location. It's really beautiful there and a good spot. So a plus one to that. Thanks, Melissa. And I feel like there's decent parking there. I do think during the season it's paid parking, but at least there is a nice sizable parking lot. So there's a lot of factors that folks have to consider oftentimes when like doing a cleanup. And a lot of times it's like, can I access it? Can I park? Can I access it through public transit? I've taken a bus there before. So yeah, just other plus ones for for Rainbow Beach. Ooh, Eric with some good fun finds in the chat. Thank you for sharing. A very large dead fish. Yeah, a lot of times we do. Yeah, unfortunately, find dead wildlife. Um, and a Home Depot bucket. Maybe that could even be used to collect litter data, ironically. But yes, a lot of big plastic. Thanks, Eric. Thanks for those reflections. It's just interesting to, yeah, hear what people find. I don't know about you, Crystal, but I feel like I often get asked that question, like, oh, it's the weirdest. I don't always have a good answer, but the weirdest thing we found. I think some of the interesting ones are when we find like little like toys or like a little Harry Potter figurine or things like that. I think are interesting. We had a partner, one of our partners in Cleveland, who did like similar kind of like cleanup work with us and partnered with us. She would collect those little like fun trinkets that she would find on the beach and had like a whole little like she would clean them ahead of time, a whole little like shelf of all of them, which was I thought was really cool. Anything else folks have questions on or want to share? I'll check the Q&A again to see if there's any. Yes, great question. Someone else asking about the slide deck. Yep, happy to share that as a PDF. We can share that in the follow-up email along with the recorded presentation. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you, Betsy, for the tiny toilet.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know that we've heard that before. Have you, Crystal?
No, I mean we found diapers and
Yes, but
but
a
not
tiny
not a
toilet.
whole training toilet.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, sometimes I have found things like definitely like you're saying, Betsy, from a boat, but not a toilet. So that might be a first. Oh, someone's asking Betsy where Pebble Beach is. I don't know if you're able to maybe share with us. I think we have multiple in the system called that. I can't. It's hard to remember where they all are located, but that would be cool to know. Someone mentions having a large client base in Ontario. I'm gonna be up near Niagara Falls in May. Oh yes, would love to I love that idea. Um, I'll also note we don't currently like have cleanups in our system in Canada, but if anyone's interested in doing cleanups in Canada, we can send you. There's a great organization that facilitates those types of events in Canada as well. But yeah, if you're interested on the state side, you can definitely, again, if you need any locations added, let us know. We love that idea. Oh, okay. Thanks, Betsy. 49th Street, Chicago. Very cool. Oh, yes. Okay. Thanks, Betsy. Any other questions or reflections or anything before we wrap up? I'll also note we will, like I said, send a follow-up email with different things we mentioned today, different links and such, and the recording and PDF slides. Um, and then, yes, if you have any follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out. We'll also, a lot of info about this season, such as like the wrap-up numbers and stuff, will be like um, on our site as a blog post. So we'll also share that with folks once it's published. And so that's another thing you can share like with folks in your network to share about your accomplishments um, or things like that.
We have one more question from Joy. Joy, are there standard times each year for organizing cleanups? Yeah. So yeah, for that, I mean, technically, yeah, the Adopt a Beach program runs year round. As long as, yeah, I mean, theoretically, someone could create a cleanup today for like January 1st. But like right now, people aren't really like going out. Well, one, like people aren't really going out to the beach. So, I mean, you could do a cleanup. You might not find a whole lot. But like our two big pushes for the year that we kind of like to like a big push for the start of our season is spring kickoff, which is again April 24th and 26th. And if you're subscribed, you will be getting reminders. And then our big final push for the season is September Adopt a Beach, which is September 19th. You'll also get a reminder about that. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, but those are not necessarily hard like start dates or end dates. You're free to do a cleanup in March, for example, when spring is official. But yeah, I mean, anytime you're willing to go out and organize a cleanup, Olivia and I are happy to support you. So yeah, there's no. Yeah, I'm like it's a very much choose your own adventure. Choose your beach whenever you want to do it, and then we can help you with the supplies. But yeah, no standard times. Just whenever you are have capacity, really. Yeah.
Very flexible. Thanks, Crystal. Good question. Any other questions or reflections? Just want to double check. I think there was maybe one. Okay, that's just about the slide. Mm, good point, Joy. Yep. Yeah, we do have folks who do like to participate like the same time every season or like once a season, or sometimes folks do it once a month, or it's really, like Crystal said, it's very flexible. So really open to whatever you and other folks you might be working with, whatever you're open to. And just want to say thanks so much for all the sweet messages you guys have put in the Q&A and chat. We so appreciate all of you, and you're such great folks to work with. So right back at you. We so appreciate you all and are just very grateful. And it's a good day when we get to be out on the beach with you all. So thank you, thank you, thank you. If we didn't say it enough, we really appreciate you. Alrighty. Well, anything else, Crystal, before we wrap up?
No, just echoing appreciation for all the
Yeah.
volunteers and all the ways that people support us. Yeah, like it's just it's nice to be supported by, your community and yeah,
Mhm.
especially yeah. I mean, coming together for a cause like the Great Lakes, I think is awesome. And yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And yeah, we're looking forward to a fun 2026 season. And yeah,
Yes.
we're here even, during the winter months to help you plan your cleanup. So
Absolutely. Yes. Please feel free to reach out. whenever you have a question or need anything or want to just chat about anything, the door is open. And we hope everyone has a great holiday season, a great new year, gets some time to relax with loved ones and maybe eat some good food. So thank you. And if we don't speak to you, happy holidays and happy new year. And we'll be in touch, like we said, with follow-up email and the recording and slides. So, alrighty. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your day and week. And hopefully, we'll chat with you soon and see you in 2026 on the beach.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.